is Christmas Day, which means we've got ourselves some eggnog, we've got ourselves some rum, and we've got ourselves a live stream. Now, unlike a lot of people who have been doing these, I am going to start by myself and then invite guests, because first, I have a bit of a presentation to make. You see, there is a very hotly debated topic around this time of year, namely, is Die Hard a Christmas movie and is Gremlins a Christmas movie? And I have taken the position that they are, and I am going to present my reasons why I think so, and then I'll open it up to guests. So, here is where we are going to start out with Die Hard. Now, it takes place on Christmas Eve. So right there, that makes it seem like it ought to be considered a Christmas movie right away. Although I suppose you could make the argument that there are movies set on Christmas Eve that are not Christmas movies. I mean, what does make something a Christmas movie? Does Christmas have to be central to the plot? Does it just have to be around Christmas time? I don't know. But I will tell you this much. There are so many hidden little Easter eggs in Die Hard where it gets to the point where it can't be a coincidence. These are clearly Christmas references that you'll really only get if you're paying serious attention and, well, let's face it, overthinking it. So it starts with John McClane, Bruce Willis's character, flying into LA on an airplane. And he's got with him a bear for his daughter. Actually, I don't know. It might be for his son. He does have 2 kids. And this bear has a gigantic honkin' red bow on it. So right away, it starts to look like it ought to be a Christmas present. Now, he meets up with his limo driver who's going to drive him to the Nakatomi Plaza. And that character's name is Argyle. Now, here's the thing. I never really noticed this because I don't know things a lot about like fashion and clothing. But Argyle is a certain pattern that you will frequently find in Christmas sweaters and Christmas stockings. It's the one with the diamond shape with the lines through it, right? That is Argyle, and that's the name of the limo driver. Now, they could have chosen just about any limo-based or a limo from any car company, but they chose a Lincoln, and the logo for Lincoln is a cross. Seriously, you look, the hood ornament is very prominently displayed, and it's clearly a cross right there in our faces. Now, they are going to the, like I said, the Nakatomi Plaza. Now, Nakatomi, the Nakatomi Corporation, Nakatomi means Minister of the Center, denoting an ancient hereditary office as an intermediary between men and deities. I mean, that's a little churchy, a little religious-y. And at the Nakatomi Corporation, there's a speech being given by that particular division's head. And it's sort of a merger / Christmas party. So he gives a speech in which he congratulates everybody for a really good year of business. And then he says, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So again, we've got ourselves some Christmas going, right? Now, this particular executive, his name is Joseph Yoshinobu Takagi. Now, first of all, his first name is Joseph, like Mary and Joseph, right? Now, that could be a total coincidence, but his middle name, Yoshinobu, means splendid faith, and his last name, Takagi, means tall tree. We're getting to a point here where these cannot be coincidences. These have to be deliberate. There's just no way. Now, as long as we're talking about names, what's the name of John McClane's wife? Holly, as in deck the halls with boughs of? And John McClane, John is a disciple who is known for Christmastide, which is December 27th, not 25th or 24th, but still, it's Christmastide, right? And the last name McClane means son of servant of Saint John. I'm sorry, but this is really edging into like the territory where it had to be deliberate. I'm just saying. Now, there's more. There's more. But I sort of lost my place, so let me get there. Oh yeah. when there's like a pregnant woman who's still working on one of the mergers, and Holly McLean, she goes in and she tells her, go out, enjoy the party. You're making me feel like Ebenezer Scrooge, right? Ebenezer Scrooge, Christmas reference. And then she goes to another guy, Ellis, and tells him to get into the Christmas spirit. And then she says, and I quote, families, stockings, chestnuts, Rudolph and Frosty. Now, the guy she's talking to is Ellis, which means my God is Jehovah. That's the meaning of his name. Now, there's like Christmas ornaments everywhere. So obviously that at least is a superficial reference to Christmas, which may or may not make it a Christmas movie, but whatever. Now, again, the main villain, Hans Gruber. Hans means gift from God. Right? There's also a character named Theo, whose name means divine gift. Ode to Joy is used in the soundtrack all over the place. It's the theme for the terrorists, right? That's actually deliberately chosen by the people making the movie. And of course, there's the iconic T-shirt, now I have a machine gun, ho, ho, ho. At one point, Hans Gruber is listing off action heroes that he thinks that John McClane is trying to model himself after. And McClane says, I was always partial to Roy Rogers. Now, Roy Rogers played a bunch of cowboys, or at least one cowboy anyway, and he did a ton of Christmas shows. I'm just saying they could have picked any action hero, but they picked one who did a lot of Christmas shows. And Argyle, the limo driver, he's down in the garage while all the action is happening, and he's listening to some rap music, which is Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC. Again, Christmas reference, right? And when all the action is done, Argyle says, if this is their idea of Christmas, I gotta see New Year's. So again, and of course the end credits play over Let It Snow. There's a character in there named Christoph, which is obviously a derivative of Christ. And let's see, there's two actors in the movie who have December 24th birthdays, but that's obviously a coincidence, that one. And all of the filmmakers, like 20th Century Fox folks, say, yeah, Die Hard's a Christmas movie. Bruce Willis says no, but the truth is that it's not up to the actors. It's up to the writers and the directors, whether or not it's a Christmas movie. So I'm going to say that, yeah, Die Hard is a friggin' Christmas movie, and it was done very deliberately. I'm sure if you really wanted to rework it and retcon it, you could find a way to set it around a different holiday like Arbor Day or some shit, but I don't think it's as possible as people would like. And it doesn't even matter, though, because the filmmakers, obviously, with all of this, the evidence is overwhelming that they were going for Christmas. So anyway, along those lines, we are now going to move to Gremlins, which is another hotly disputed movie about whether or not it's a Christmas movie. Now, I have had this plush gizmo since, oh gosh, I guess it was 1984, 85. I've had him since the movie came out, right? So this is an original Gizmo plushie toy. Just saying. Now, the movie opens with Billy's dad going out trying to buy a present for his son, and he specifies Christmas. I suppose it could have been his birthday, but he says Christmas. And then Christmas music runs over the opening credits, at which point you see Corey Feldman, young little Corey Feldman, like pre the two Coreys, Corey Feldman, dressed up as a Christmas tree at the Christmas tree lot where they're trying to sell them. Mrs. Deagle, who goes into the bank angry at Billy, is deliberately, they say this, like the writers and Joe Dante, the director, say she's modeled after Scrooge, that she is supposed to be like a female Ebenezer Scrooge. So that was deliberate. Also, what she's angry about is that Billy's dog destroyed her imported Belgian snowman, which is not that interesting, but at the same time, it's definitely at least a winter reference, if not a Christmas reference. So there's that. People are saying Merry Christmas constantly, and there's decorations everywhere. So obviously you're being hit pretty hard with the fact that, yeah, this is Christmas. Now, when they go into Billy Peltzer's house, It's a Wonderful Life is playing on the TV. Now, I know some people dispute like It's a Wonderful Life even being a Christmas movie, but it's very frequently associated with Christmas. So obviously that's another factor. When the dad gets home, he is singing Deck the Halls, right? And Billy puts a Santa hat on Gizmo. And at one point, his dog is strung up by well, they're not gremlins yet, they're mogwai, but is strung up with Christmas lights by the gremlins. And there's also Christmas carolers. Now, Phoebe Cates plays a character named Kate, which I always was amused by. And she discusses Christmas depression and that she doesn't celebrate the holiday. Now, that becomes significant later, but it's also true that a lot of people tend to suffer depression during Christmas. I mean, that's one of the reasons why this stream even exists. This big marathon, actually, it came out to 32 hours, not just 24, marathon of live streams was for people who don't have somewhere to go on Christmas, who might be feeling a little alone. So Christmas depression is definitely a thing. Now, Billy's mom is baking gingerbread men, frequently associated with Christmas. She's also listening to Do You Hear What I Hear on the record player. Now, there is, oh, by the way, before I mention this, or before I move on, Billy's mom is a bit of a badass. I mean, she takes out 3 gremlins all by herself. And like you see her wielding a big hunkin' knife. And at one point, 2 of them, she uses a folding chair as a shield. She kicks ass in that scene. I mean, you know, you wouldn't necessarily expect it of a movie mom in the 80s, but, you know, she was pulling some full-on Ellen Ripley crap. Anyway, so then there's a stalking over the fireplace for actually a fake jump scare, because there's actually a toy robot that got activated inside of it. But I mean, where else are you going to get that jump scare from? What, like a pet gerbil somewhere or something? But you still need the Christmas stocking to have something moving in it. So in that way, at least, it's actually kind of necessary that this movie be set around Christmas time. I mean, that's not enough. We have a preponderance of evidence here, but that's a pretty significant factor, I'd say. Now, you've got a doctor and his wife decorating a tree at one point before the gremlins start really making nuisances of themselves. Mr. Futterman, the guy who runs the snowplow, is watching a Red Skelton Christmas comedy while his wife sings Deck the Halls. Gremlins outside of Mrs. Deagle's house are singing Christmas carols. There's a Dave, really, is it Dave Lawrence, really? Well, I guess, okay, so Dave Lawrence is dressed up as Santa Claus and is attacked by gremlins. There's gremlins hanging from Christmas lights. There's also a DJ called Rockin' Ricky Rialto, where someone, I actually think it's Corey Feldman's character, calls in and starts telling him about the gremlins. And he says, hey, come on, kid, this is Christmas, not Halloween. So again, Christmas comes up, and rather significantly. Now, Phoebe Cates' character tells this crazy pants story about her dad's death when she was 9 years old, because he disappeared on Christmas night. And no one knew where he was. And weeks went by, months went by, and then people started to notice the smell coming from the chimney. It turned out he had dressed as Santa Claus and was going to jump down the chimney to surprise everybody, but accidentally slipped, broke his neck, and died instantly, and was stuck in the fireplace for like months. And that's how, at the age of 9 years old, she found out there was no Santa Claus. Now, this story is not super significant to the plot, but it's a bit of character development that I don't think you could have done with, say, Thanksgiving or Arbor Day. So again, that's kind of another reason why it's necessary that Gremlins be a Christmas movie. Now, she was working at a pub called Dorys Pub. Now, Dory means gift, beloved, or adored, and gift, Christmas. It's probably not as significant, that name, as Columbia. Gosh, it's probably not as significant as some of the names in Die Hard, which are obviously references, because Dory comes up. It's like you see a lot of Irish pubs with that name attached, so it's probably not as significant. Now, the Gremlins at one point are sitting in a movie theater watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Now, that's not explicitly a Christmas movie, but it was specifically chosen by Disney in 1937 as a holiday event movie. So it was released in December of 1937 specifically to coincide with the holiday. Also, and this one's really obscure, but at one point, Corey Feldman's character is sitting in school watching an educational movie about heartbeats. And this educational movie was actually directed by Frank Capra, who directed It's a Wonderful Life. So that there is another connection. And also, at one point during the final battle with Stripe in the department store, "Oh, Christmas Tree" is playing on the store speakers. So it's kind of hard, I think, to deny that both Gremlins and Die Hard are Christmas movies. I think that if you are going to say "nuh-uh," well, I think you just don't want them to be, and the facts mean nothing to you. So that said, for those of you who are in the message board on Twitter for this, I have, in fact, opened it up to guests. If you want to discuss what I just said or think what I said is stupid and let's talk about something else, I don't care which. But as I say, I've opened it up to guests. That said, I'm going to look at the chat and see how everybody is doing, because I actually was looking at my text file rather than the chat. And, well, someone's saying I'm correct, which is awesome. Someone said Star Trek captains. Okay, you're just lying there. Is that Aki or Ackle? I can't tell. 561. No, I did not get a Star Trek captain's jersey signed by William Shatner. What's wrong with you? So here we have Diana Clarion, the Lavender Lady, in the stream with us.
There we go. That's better.
How the heck are you?
Oh, I just woke up. I got a nice couple minutes of sleep. Sorry I'm late. But you were just kind of closing up over this. Hopefully not that much later.
So did you actually miss my entire presentation on why Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
I hate to say it, but yeah.
See, I wanted someone's opinion on that, because I think that some of what I discovered about, like, say, for example, Joseph Yoshinobu Takagi's name was pretty significant, honestly.
Okay, then.
Well, because I mean, if you weren't here for it, I'll just say it again, is that, I mean, his first name is Joseph, so Mary and Joseph. His middle name is Yoshinobu, which means splendid faith, and Takagi in Japanese means tall tree. How can that possibly be a coincidence?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I kind of like the way that works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same with a lot of the names in the Die Hard movie. They're just very they're referential to the season, to the holiday.
There we go. Oh my.
Well, hoping we get a few other guests. It'd be nice to have more perspective on this, to have other people weigh in. I see that some folks in the chat, like Bag Tempered Badger, is definitely agreeing that it's a Christmas film. Now Main Gun 07 says that Die Hard and Lethal Weapon are your two favorite Christmas movies. Now, I mean, yeah, Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie. It takes place around Christmas, but it has significantly less Christmas in it than Die Hard. Like, significantly.
Oh, let's see what does Omega Nuts have to say here. Am I the defense to argue against you, Anya?
Oh, hey there, Michael. Yeah, unfortunately he's in China, so like the time zone thing is a little iffy.
Oh my.
Yeah. Now, you know, I have never actually seen It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, okay. It's not worth it.
Okay. Well, I
It's too
mean,
fucking sappy, man. Really.
oh, sometimes sappy can work though. You have to be in the right mood for it, but there's times I totally dig on sappy. You know, I mean, there are some bits of, say, Home Alone that get pretty sappy, and I'm okay with it. You know,
Okay.
I mean, Macaulay Culkin before he was an addict is actually worth watching.
Now I'm gonna have to say that I, in my own way, kind of like it's Charlie Brown Christmas, but that's just me being weird.
I'm sure I've seen that at some point, but it's been decades, and I remember very little.
Okay, okay. It's you do know the plot or no?
Not off the top of my head. Like I said, it's been decades.
Oh,
My age
okay.
was probably in the single digits the last time I saw it.
Okay, okay, with the whole Christmas play thing, and they make Charlie Brown the director, and then send him out to get the perfect Christmas tree, and that's that
Hmm.
thing where the stuff that you see on the online advertisements with the little tree falling over and looks like it's dead, and they
And
they mock him for that, and turns
I
out that it's not
totally
that.
agree with something that was just said. Sappy is better than edgy. I agree.
Okay, now what? I know I'm dumb, but just exactly what is edgy all about?
Well, you know how I'm always bitching about how much I hated the 90s?
Okay.
Well, the 90s were the epitome of trying to be edgy.
Okay, then.
There's a certain amount of counterculture that goes into edginess. There's a certain amount of I guess not so much making people uncomfortable, but certainly pushing boundaries. And it comes with a vibe, with a flavor that I don't care for.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess part of the problem is that I like my entertainment to be more of an escape from reality rather than wallowing in reality's misery. And a lot of what's edgy out there tends to be like, hey, you know how much life sucks? Well, let's just like keep it sucking in our entertainment too.
Okay,
And I'm like,
then.
but I want to get away from that. It's not fair.
Oh
Um,
my. Vesta Freya says it's a wonderful life. You have to love Jimmy Stewart. One of the things I really, really like about Jimmy Stewart is that he got into the left hand seat of B-24s and put his ass out on the line to drop bombs on America's enemy in war. He didn't do the USO tour. He didn't do the war bonds advertisement. He was actually out
oh.
there, and I know it sounds all conservative and everything, but um, there's a certain thing I like about that.
Well, it doesn't always go well for everybody. You remember Pat Tillman?
Mm, indeed.
So, I mean, I don't know. I like it when my actors live, for one thing. Which I mean, I realized Pat Tillman was like a football player or some shit, but still, uh, you know, I prefer it when celebrities don't die so much.
And then, well, there's the thing, about celebrities that don't quite make it. I mean, Glenn Miller didn't quite make it. Um,
I only know that name because of Red Dwarf.
the band leader.
Yeah, I know, but
Oh,
I
okay,
only
okay,
I
okay.
only know because there's like a line in Red Dwarf somewhere where a reference to him is made, something about bringing back Glenn Miller or something, and yeah. Um, but I don't know. Um,
Yeah, I'm not all gung ho war and all this other stuff, but I know there is that certain, what's the word I'm looking for? Honorableness.
I
It doesn't sound
guess.
right. I don't know.
Well, I mean, there is a certain genre of sci-fi, a subgenre of sci-fi that I find I really like, and I don't know why exactly. It's called diesel punk. Now, you'll hear a lot of people going off on steampunk a lot, but you know me, I don't like that sort of Victorian look to everything, and I like my sci-fi a little more high tech. Now, diesel punk is like if you took steampunk but set it in World War II. That's diesel.
Okay, yeah, I
Like
think I
if you've
remember you.
ever seen The Rocketeer, if you've ever seen Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, if you've ever seen Iron Sky, these are diesel punk movies.
Okay, sounds like I might have to go look at some of these.
Yeah, and there's actually a video game coming out next year called Diesel Punk Wars. It looks interesting. So when we start talking about things like World War II, while I'm not the world's biggest fan of World War II or even that era necessarily in history, I do enjoy fiction that resembles it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. And I can only assume that what is that? Insylum? I don't know. That you weren't here for the beginning of this stream because I explained exactly why both Die Hard and Gremlins are Christmas movies. Yeah. So,
Oh my, oh my.
hmm.
Only 49 watching? What the hell? Where is everybody? Come on, get over
Yeah.
here.
Well, we've only got
I'd kill to have
24,800
50 people
subscribers. I'd
watching.
like to think more of them will be here. Although I suppose, a lot of it is just, well, they actually have somewhere to be for Christmas, unlike the rest of us. But that's fine because we're here to entertain all of you who don't have anything else to do. And of course, we don't have anything else to do. So
we'll have a real good time, yes, sir.
And my family is spread all the heck over, well, mostly the West hemisphere, but still, it would be really difficult to get us all to come together, given how many of us are on opposite coasts or even in other countries right now. So, yeah.
Oh my, it's only my generation.
Don't even get Fred Harvey. Don't even get me started on why Blade Runner is crap. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love cyberpunk. I really love the genre, but Blade Runner is a badly told story. It really is. It's slow, and by that I don't mean it doesn't have enough action scenes. I mean it is slow. Like the characters are talking about this fast a lot with long pauses in between shit they're gonna say, and I'm like, move it along, tell me the story. Plus, like, I had some people say, well, you just don't get the story, and then they explain the story to me. I'm like, but that's so bloody obvious. Every sci-fi I've ever encountered that deals with AI in any form tells that particular story, so it wasn't that interesting to begin with. I don't know. It's a beautiful movie. It's a very beautiful movie. I love looking at the visuals, but
yes, yeah. I was about to say that. Yeah.
But it's not a well-told story. And don't even get me started on post-Disney Star Wars Beach 8.
Oh, boy.
I mean, again, we're talking about badly told stories. They never managed to make me care about any of the characters. I don't even remember their names. That's how unremarkable I thought they were. It was like they were just there to hold the guns and swing the lightsabers and fly the spaceships. The whole movie was like watching someone else play a video game. Mind you, I'm talking about The Force Awakens here, not Rise of Skywalker. And I'm also talking about Rogue One, because it was after Rogue One that I gave up on the series. So, yeah.
What do we have going? What are you looking for, little one? She's getting up on her hind legs. What? It's never mind.
So, yeah, I don't. Were you in the stream yet when I had to fling my cat?
I don't think I was here yet. You had to fling the kitty. Oh no.
No, she was slashing at my arm. Apparently, I was not petting her the right way or not petting her enough or something.
Geez, okay.
And she decided to go all honey badger on my ass, so I had to pick her up and zing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Bounce off the wall.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she didn't get flung that far. I could have, but she didn't get flung that far.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah, she made a very
We-
pleasant thump when she hit the floor, though. And
You
wonder
meanie.
I wonder how many people get that reference.
I'm not
Okay.
sure I do.
You've never watched Babylon 5, had you? Have you?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, because there was a scene with Jakar where he was talking about like beating people up or something, and they were bad people, so it was okay. But he was like, and they made a very pleasant thump when they hit the ground. It was a thing. He was like drunk when he said it. I'm gonna have to rewatch the series. It's been a couple of years, and I know I loved it. So yeah.
That was an interesting thing that went on because it's you had what? You had Babylon 5 and you had Deep Space Nine. One was Warner Brothers, the other one was who the fuck was it? Paramount?
Oh, well, Star Trek, I'm pretty sure is Paramount. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was seeing something about that a little while ago where you had the little fork going on and they were trying to outdo each other and then what it melded back together or some shit.
Uh, you're not saying they had crossovers, did you? Are you? Because they
This is what
didn't.
they didn't. Okay, fine.
No, they were not crossovers in any way. No. The Babylon 5 was very much its own thing. And it actually was one of the forerunners in what is so common now, where a lot of TV shows used to insist, no, each episode has to be fully encapsulated, its own thing, so that you can watch the episodes in any order. But Babylon 5 started with the premise of a 5-year story arc. And now
Okay, okay,
everything seems to have a story arc. And that was totally Babylon 5's doing.
okay.
Yes, that's right. It was when he was with Michael York, who thought he was King Arthur. That's right. Yes, that was the scene with the very pleasant thump. Okay.
Oh my. Michael York is in.
The dude from Logan's Run. Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. Okay. Yeah, I have a hard time placing some of these folks. 'Cause
Now,
I do.
Logan's Run is another one I think that could stand a remake.
That would be interesting.
Well, I mean, I tried watching it, like I'd watched it once before. I tried watching it again quite recently, and it is interminable. And it just, I don't know. In fact, I'm noticing that about a lot of movies, older movies, is that they tend to take their time on things where they probably took too much time. Like I was watching the original Ocean's 11, the one that is not Brad Pitt and was it Brad Pitt? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Brad Pitt. And why can't I remember his name now? Played Batman once, was in ER. You know who I'm talking about. Totally blanking on his name. But like this was the one with Frank Sinatra. And it was so freaking slow. So yeah. Um Man, why can I not remember that guy's name? He's a very famous actor. He's been in frickin' everything, and I cannot remember his name. George Clooney. That's it. Yeah, George Clooney.
Mm.
Thank you, Natcha. By the way, Natcha, there is a link in the message thread
Hey,
for this if you want to get in here, because everyone loves a wee bit of Natcha
yeah, come
in the live
on.
stream. So yeah,
I didn't see you
and you're
come
too
in, so
critical
come
cripple.
on.
You could come on in as well, and yeah, because we enjoy having you around to chat with. Yes, we do.
Yes, he's not just a big sweetie,
Hmm?
and he's my upside down sweetie. I hope you're not too jealous.
Not particularly, no. For those of you who don't know, Diana here has a wee smidge of a crush. They didn't. Yeah. So there's that. I don't know. Oh, you're not home today. Oh, woke up in someone else's bed. All right. All right. Way to go. So, yeah, actually, it's funny. I watched the Omega Man recently as well, and man, is that one a bad movie. I like the idea. I honestly, and I know some people are going to say this is a travesty, I liked the Will Smith version better. Although I wish they'd gone with the original idea for the ending. Because
Okay.
as I understand it, in the Will Smith version, the I Am Legend, because for those of you who don't know, the Omega Man and I Am Legend are based on the same book. And in fact, they're also kind of based on the same movie that had Vincent Price, and the bad guys were literally vampires. But as I understand it, in the Will Smith movie, the whole idea was going to be that he had been hunting these creatures, trying to understand them. And what he comes to realize is that he is their bad guy because he's been hunting them. And they like, he has, that's why, like, I am legend, I am the boogeyman for these creatures, and that they actually wanted to be peaceful. And the only reason he was so scared of them was because they were all hunting each other. But oh, I love Buckaroo Banzai! The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. Awesome movie. Totally badass. Mind you, I'm sure a lot of people would watch it today and go, what's up with these production values and why is it so weird? But it's amazing.
It's right up there with Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century. Absolutely.
Well, it's a bit less silly, but I mean, you got to admit,
Yeah.
Buckaroo Banzai, for those who don't know, I mean, Peter Weller plays the son of like I forget if his father was Japanese and his mother was American or vice versa. Not that it matters very much, but he's a scientist, a surgeon, and plays in a rock band. And in the very beginning of the movie, he drives a truck straight through a mountain because he uses this special funky laser thing to be able to do it. And it gets even weirder from there. The thing is, the movie is a who's who of Hollywood. It has so many people in it. I mean, it's got like Christopher Lloyd, and it's got Jeff Goldblum, and it's got why can I not remember his name now? John Lithgow in it. It's got like seriously so many people. It's crazy. Clancy Brown is in it. It's just crazy the number of people in that movie that are famous. So yeah, great flick, great flick.
And there's that wonderful thud.
Well, and oh my gosh, the end music, the end credits music for Buckaroo Banzai is amazing. So, of course, I'm an 80s kid. Obviously, I'd like a weird ass movie from the 80s. I don't know. I was a little disappointed. I was playing a game. There's this game, a board game called Concept, where you have a topic and you're trying to get people to guess what it is by placing these tiles on little subjects on the board, kind of thing, and trying to show the interrelation of them. And I figured I'd go off card because they have a list of cards with list of topics on the cards. I decided to go off topic and do Buckaroo Banzai instead of what was on the card, and nobody got the reference. Even after I told them what it was, nobody understood the reference, and I was so disappointed.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when you know you really did a good job.
I've only seen Remo Williams once, Beach 8, but I remember enjoying it. It was, what was that? Was that Fred Ward was the main character? I think.
Okay, I'm not the person to ask about that because I have not seen very many of these films.
Well, I'm gonna say it was worth watching, and I'm pretty sure it was Fred Ward.
Okay, because I have
Joel
to be
Grey
honest,
played a Korean. I mean, I can see them attempting that, but wow. And you know, it's funny. I have not watched Highlander in a very long time, so I don't remember him as the Kurgan, but I know he was. Oh, Space Hunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. Now, I wanted to like that a lot more than I did, but it, for some reason, went from being a space movie to being more like a poor man's Mad Max. And I mean, that's not bad, but I felt a little cheated by what I saw on the cover when I rented it as a child. So,
Now you say Highlander, I just my thoughts drift to Aqua Teen Hunger Force and the milkshake in the wheelchair. You know, there can be only one, and gets hit by lightning.
I've actually never watched that show.
I watched, I think, the first 4 seasons,
Hmm.
and I just, it's not that I decided I was not going to watch it anymore. It's just that life got in the way, and I just didn't continue watching. I'm going to have to go out sometime and find the recordings of the other shows and watch. I did see the last episode where Meatwad became a productive member of society.
Hmm.
It was like, no, that's not supposed to happen.
Well, there are a couple of shows where, for one reason or another, I never finished watching them until years later and didn't know what had happened to all of the characters. I
Okay.
know some people might try to stomp on me for this one, but Friends was one of those. I had watched most of Friends, and then for whatever reason, I ended up like not having cable for a while or something. And so I missed the last like 3 seasons.
Oops.
And yeah, so I had to pick that up later on DVD. Mind you, I didn't watch it. Like I didn't buy the DVD copy. I got it out of the library because my local library would lend out DVDs. So that's how I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, of course, now everything is streaming. I've had so many times where I'm like, oh man, there's this show I never saw or that I haven't seen in ages. And so I bought the box set. And then like a month later, it's on Hulu or Netflix. So
Oops. Oops.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
was kind of surprised when I saw that even my local library, the one just down the road from me, which has maybe half the number of volumes I have here, actually rents or not rent or lends DVDs, and it's okay. I guess this is the medium of the hour or something like that. Something that small would actually have a collection of DVDs. It amazed me, really. Doesn't take much to amaze me. Really doesn't.
You know what Fred Harvey said? I could never really get into MASH. I tried. I really did. It didn't connect.
Oh, I did watch that one. I wouldn't say religiously, but yeah, quite a lot of it. Um, I really liked the episodes that Alan Alda directed. He
I didn't
seemed to
know he
have the
directed.
touch. Yeah, way back when he did take a few of them, and
Did it? Uh, yeah, Badger, you can come in too. I don't know if you're in the Twitter feed, but the link is in there. I don't know if you can
uh,
actually send like private messages through chat like this. I don't think you can. Otherwise, I'd send you the link that way. But I'm definitely not putting the link in the main chat, or we will be flooded by
yeah,
people
you
that I
don't want
don't
to do
even know
that.
if they're attractive enough to be on YouTube.
Okay, so what am I doing here? You've asked that question many times. I know.
I was actually thinking about because we were talking about Friends. There was an episode of Friends where Joey was teaching an acting class, and at one point he said something about, "And here I am stuck teaching a class of people, many of whom are not attractive enough to be on television." Well, I mean, I've thought about that, and I know I've mentioned this sort of thing on your show. I'm not sure I've mentioned it on my own. Is that I do have a first cousin once removed who works in film who said
Yeah, 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 yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
my voice is unique, and he thinks I have a unique look, and he thinks that if I took acting classes, he could get me parts. But I think about it, and I'm like, I'm not what Hollywood would consider particularly attractive, or at
Shut
least
up,
I'm
Clarion.
not. Oh yeah, shut up. I mean, I don't fit the Hollywood model of the hot chick. So I would probably be stuck playing like aliens or weirdos or nerd bags or whatever, and I'm like, do I really want that necessarily? especially with all the industry bullshit that goes on that you hear about behind the scenes and
Okay.
all this other
Okay.
stuff. I'm like, as much as interesting as fame sounds, I'm not sure if I would really want that kind of fame. I would
Oh, I
love to
get
be a
you
much
there.
popular YouTuber than I am because right now I'm my own damn boss, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also something to be said that you're really not your own boss. I mean, you work at the pleasure of the viewer, and many times keeping the viewer satisfied and happy and everything else is not exactly easy. But it is. I prefer to think a little bit better than working for some micromanaging piece of shit boss.
Oh, and some of the things I hear about the studios doing to movies that would have been good, where it's like, no, our focus group says don't do that. And of course, a lot of the time when the director does it anyway, it's the thing that the public loves most.
Okay.
And just all this interference. We saw the dailies and we want this, that, and the other thing. You're not focusing on Jessica Alba's face enough or whatever it is. And it's just like, really, guys, that
Now, I
I,
don't know
I
how
think
it
that
goes.
storytelling should take precedence over focus groups, but what you gonna do?
I don't know how it goes because I really don't know what happens in the field. But how many times is it that when the director does something right in spite of the executive producers, that that is the director's last film,
I
even
don't know.
though it worked?
I don't know. I'm sure that must be a thing, but I'm not sure. I know that there
Okay,
are some actors where they didn't, blow the executive behind the scenes and that's why they've been blacklisted from Hollywood, but I don't know about like directors and writers and such.
okay.
Yeah. What in it's someone's gonna have to teach me how to pronounce this. I don't
I have
fucking
no
know.
idea.
Um,
No idea.
how does someone who does YouTube for a living and is their own boss afford any type of health insurance? Well, right now I don't actually afford health insurance. In fact, technically, right now I am making less than minimum wage. I am definitely not making a living wage. And I'm only living where I'm living and as well as I'm living, frankly, because my parents made some very smart investments and helped me out quite a bit. Uh,
Hmm.
if I had to pay rent right now, I'd be on the street. And that's the truth. But because I'm making less than minimum wage, I'm actually getting completely free healthcare. I mean, 100% paid for by the state of California. You remember when I had to have the brain surgery to fix the seizures? That was
I
a
was just thinking of that.
$300,000 procedure, and it was completely free, not a red cent out of pocket. I mean, if people start bitching about Bernie's idea of healthcare, of free healthcare, universal healthcare, I am the poster child for why it fucking works.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
I know that if there are certain things you don't have to pay for, life is so easy on next to no money. Oh, you have no idea that like I sock away a couple hundred every month because I'm not paying rent and not paying healthcare.
That's got to be kind of nice. It really has to be because in your neighborhood, rent is got to be a killer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty insane. I mean, we're talking thousands a month.
Well, last I checked, you had Ansgar and his family in a room in LA, if I remember correctly, for what I think it was 800 or 900 a month, and in
Mhm.
a room, a closet, basically. Um, so to be where you are, which seems to be a reasonable place to live.
Okay, Ugly German Truths just said something in the chat that is actually not the joke I usually make about universal healthcare. Says, but it has to be universal. Can't you get NGM or Columbia Healthcare? I usually say, universal healthcare goes too far. I think we should try galactic healthcare first and see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I mean, yeah. Same basic idea, but different reference. I still love it though. That's good.
And then
Yeah.
you've got the right wingers, the crazy right wingers who's the one that said Jesus would not want us to have universal health care. Where it was what's the thing, the meme that goes around that what so and so say Bernie Sanders is not the or what is not the brown skinned person who wants the health care, the liberal, that you're talking about Jesus.
Oh,
I know I messed that up. I know I did.
okay. Yeah, I don't remember that exact meme, but I've seen a lot along the same theme. So yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's
Um,
funny. Amiga Nuts, you're talking about dad jokes. There is actually a new form of technology out there that is meant to protect us from the dad joke and bad puns. It's called a farce field.
but what would Twitter be without Concordance's dad jokes? I mean, really.
Well, a lot of people tell me that I'm the queen of dad jokes. So, Steven man, I am so bad at pronouncing these names now. Steven Zagalia. Have you seen the article that puts out a really good argument that A Christmas Story is not a Christmas movie? No, I have not seen this, but it's hard to picture it not being a Christmas movie. So,
Oh my word.
yeah,
Yep.
I don't know how that can be so, but
My my ex was addicted to A Christmas Story. She'd have that playing on the channel that played it all day on the 25th. You'd get like 24 or 30 hours of A Christmas Story, whatever would fit in to a string of complete movies. And I mean, it's okay, but I don't know if I like it that much. I I,
yeah,
ha- I have seen the house in Cleveland where some of the filming was done.
I
I've
heard
been
someone
there.
recently put up a gigantic leg on the lawn.
That's got to be great. I wish I could be there to see it. It's I used to live right around the corner from that. Well, not exactly right around the corner, but close enough to that house. It's in a neighborhood in Cleveland called Tremont, which is on the opposite side of the Cleveland Zoo where I lived. So I mean, I could walk there if I wanted, that whole thing. But it's been a little while since I've lived in Cleveland.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
Well,
a
I
little
mean,
while.
a Christmas movie. I remember I saw it in the theater when it was new, and I remember feeling traumatized by it. I remember there was something about it that did not sit well with me, and I think part of it was when Flick stuck his tongue to the flagpole was
Oh
part of
my.
it.
Okay. Okay.
And
Yep.
I think part of it is that at the time I remember eating pretzels while I was watching the movie. And there's a certain taste to that outside of a pretzel that to me seemed like it would be the way a flagpole would have to taste.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but that association was there. But also like Scott Farkus did not do me any favors, I'm sure.
Oh, right. Right.
Yeah. It's just not I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love the movie. I really
Oh,
do.
yeah.
But it traumatized me a bit. Also, I don't know why they needed the fire department to get Flick off of the flagpole. Couldn't they have like just poured warm water onto his tongue? Wouldn't that have
That
got
would
him
have done it
loose?
perfectly, yes, but it
I
wouldn't have made for a great filming scene, you know?
Oh, I suppose not. But even so though, like I still remember the first time I saw him where they you know, all the kids were in class and the teacher's like, "Where's Flick? Where's Flick?"
Mhm,
And they
mhm.
point outside and you see this long shot of him like his face on the flagpole doing this, like windmilling his arms around, and that freaked me out so much. It was kind of like the first time I saw E.T. Now, E.T. came out in 1982. I came out in 1975. So I was pretty young, right? And I was scared of the guy with the keys on his belt. Like I enjoyed the rest of the movie. even though some of it was a bit creepy. But for some reason, there's just the guy with the keys on his belt freaked me out, and I don't know why.
Oh, you'd have loved Mr. Jingling.
I don't know
He
what that
was
is.
okay. That was a local thing in Cleveland when I was growing up. One of the department stores had Santa's right hand elf or whatever the hell that was. I think they had a special thing going up there in the North Pole. But it was all about Mr. Jingling, how you jingling with your many keys. And this guy wore a key ring the size of Texas on his belt with all. I don't know why he had all the keys. Really, I don't know
Hmm.
what the keys was all about. But he was on Halley's seventh floor, and we'll be looking for you to turn the keys. The guy was crazy. He was almost as crazy as
Wow.
Barnaby, but that's another story. Um, and it was weird, just plain old. These various stores making up their own characters to draw shoppers in, bringing their kids to see the characters, basically. But the whole Christmas story thing, that was a kind of cute thing. I saw it as a first run. Um, Sandra and I, my wife and I, had gone to Arizona for the Thanksgiving holiday. Went up to this Grand Canyon, and while we were up there, we flew through it. We decided that we were going to stick around, even with the weird weather coming in, and we were going to take the flight through the Grand Canyon and then start to head home. We ended up snowed in Flagstaff, looking for something to do. And that was what we did. We went to the local motion picture theater and saw A Christmas Story. And both of us thought it was kind of cute, that whole thing. And it was just a weird way to see a film for the first time.
So it looks like we've got ourselves a bit of a bad-tempered badger over here.
Oh boy, hey, hello
Hello,
there.
hello, hello. What's
Who the
going on
hell are
here
you?
then?
It's a little bit this, little bit that. Good for me, good for you. What am I talking about? I don't know.
So, couple of things from the chat. What guy with the keys on his belt? In ET, you know how like you've got the government people looking for ET, and at one point they find the Reese's Pieces on the ground, and you don't see any of the adults' faces, and he's like tapping at the Reese's Pieces and stuff. And then there's a part where he's like chasing after ET or running after the UFO or something. You see this little thing on his belt. It's like keys with the leather thing behind them so they don't hurt his pants, and they jingle as he runs. You get this close-up shot of his crotch, which is kind of goofy.
Oops.
Is he overlooking the city or the town or whatever in that shot? They're kind of like out in the sticks.
In one of the shots, yeah. He's the guy who eventually, like, you do see his face when they've put the tent over the house, and Elliot's on the gurney and stuff, and he's wearing the clean suit hat thing. That guy.
I think I found the guy because I put in E.T. Keys Belt Man into image search.
Well, I think the character's name is actually literally Keys. It's never said, but I think if you look on IMDb, the character name is Keys.
That makes sense.
Man.
And someone else said something here. Gosh, where did it go? A lot of chat went by. Oh, yeah. Big Picture said that the kid who played Flick now makes porn, and it's true. He is a porn star. I actually, like, as much as I like A Christmas Story, I remember him better as Eric Bates from The Toy, the one with Richard Pryor.
I think Nacho was asking for the link to be resent to.
I did. Oh, okay. It's in the Twitter feed now.
Yeah, I'm just catching up. I went to get a cup of tea.
Oh, what is Upside Down Sweetie coming in here?
Oh, I don't think Nacha is. He wanted it for someone else.
Oh, okay, fine.
I couldn't see it because apparently if you join the chat late, you don't get the history. I don't know why.
Yeah, Twitter is Twitter.
Yeah. But there's that one scene in The Toy. Like, again, The Toy came out in what, 1982-ish? I don't know. And I did not understand one of the jokes when I first saw it, because they called him, like, they were introducing Richard Pryor to him, and they go, and this is Master Bates.
Okay.
you know, he laughed and I didn't get it because I didn't know the word because my age was I was like 7 or 8 or some shit. And now when I watch it, unfortunately, like I've seen it too many times for the joke to land anymore. I wish I had seen it when I was older so that it would make sense.
Oh, there's Meryl. Hi, how you doing? Yay! Yeah, what's this arguing about who's a boomer and who's a Gen Xer and everything else? Where's that come from?
Mm, I,
Uh,
I don't know how that got started here,
It
but
came up in the previous stream.
Oh, okay. I was asleep for that one.
well, the thing is, like, I cross generations. Like, if you drew a Venn diagram, I'm sort of like 2 of them overlap me. So I could be a Gen Xer, but I also might be a millennial. Or maybe it's Gen Z. I can't remember which comes after which, but I know that
I think the Z is like the ones that are just becoming adults now.
okay,
Yeah,
then
I'm not
I
picturing you
could
as a
potentially qualify as a millennial, and I could potentially qualify as a Gen Xer.
Okay.
And now we have ourselves a Nervardia who has way much nice face over her head.
Hello.
There's something wrong here. You're the same way up as the rest of us.
I'm sorry. Is there a way that I can turn my screen upside down?
I don't know, but could you rotate your camera just a little bit so that your head is hitting the top of the frame?
That better?
Yeah, now it works.
I'm going to have to change that now because it's going to take a while. I'm going to drop my computer if I continue doing that. Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Yeah. There we go. Hello.
My parents are definitely boomers. Like they were. Yeah. They don't really act like I've never had the opportunity to say "okay, boomer" to my parents yet. It hasn't happened.
Yeah, I love the way that that whole dismissive thing, and I suppose that it's in response to the way many of my generation seem to dismiss the younger folks, which is a bunch of bullshit.
Generally comes up when the younger folks are being given advice that made complete sense 50 years ago, but now does not apply.
Oh, well, it's the world doesn't work now the way it did 50 years ago. And I hate to think about it. You know, well, number one, I don't fit. And number two, mine is, I think, the last generation that could have reasonably expected to be better off than the parents. And that's, you know, there's all that came later.
It's the stuff like oh, let me finish my mouthful before I start speaking.
Okay.
It's quite professional not on camera, huh?
It's stuff like, oh well, you know, I bought my first house working part time as I was going to college. And it's like,
okay,
congratulations.
Anymore.
Congratulations! I love that.
Okay, boomer. Yeah, I can just about afford noodles if I work part time alongside the stuff.
Pretty much.
I'm trying to find it. I can't find it right now, but there was a picture I made that is probably the close. Oh, there it is. I found it. It's the closest I've made to anything that's ever gone viral. It's about this. Let me see if I can, because I haven't done this with StreamYard yet. Trying to share just a specific. Yes, I can do it. Okay, here we go. Now, not everybody is going to get this, because you may not have seen the original Battlestar Galactica.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. For those who are too young to know, the character on the right is named Boomer. So.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Usually when I say that I enjoy Battlestar Galactica, people don't think I mean Space Mormons, but we were talking before about edgy. The remake of Battlestar Galactica was trying its damnedest to be edgy, and that's why I hated it.
My most
there was
recent
not one character who was happy in any way. They were all either sad or angry, every last one of them. And I've got enough of that in my own life. I don't want it in my entertainment, So I was like, I would have liked a remake of Battlestar Galactica that stayed true to the original while revamping the effects. You know what I mean?
She's got enough tears and sadness and everything. She puts up with me twice a week on the air. What are you talking about?
There is that.
Okay, wait, I was pointing that. I should be pointing that way. There, that works better. I keep forgetting how everything is reversed around here.
Well, and on the other stream, the version you use, whatever it is you use to stream with, if anyone shares their screen, all of where everyone is reorders itself when the screen is not shared anymore.
Uh-huh.
So how's everybody? How was their Christmas?
Largely unremarkable, but that's better than usual.
I suppose it could be worse. I suppose I could be having Christmas with family. Were they still alive? That sort of thing.
I went around to see the mini badgers, and I got a T-shirt that says, "I paused my game for this."
Well, I've often
your family knows you well. Then
I've often felt like I kind of envy the people that have like the family that's really close by. Like I have friends where it's like, oh, the cousins live an hour away and grandma's 5 blocks away, and we always get together for the big holidays where everyone eats. And I'm like, sure, that's a little Norman Rockwell for me. But at the same time, I kind of envy it in a way because my family's been so spread out. And right now my parents are like sometimes my dad is in Vermont while my mom is in Oaxaca, and vice versa, and all of this stuff. And it's like,
they like each other that much, huh?
The closest family I got is my cat at the moment. And I'm not a fan of that,
Well, you're not a fan of your cat.
No, not a fan of just having my cat as family around. I mean, that's not to say I don't have friends, but it's not the same.
Yeah. Well, my dad lives 20 minutes away from me, so that's kind of useful.
In the environment in which I came, the family would stick close together. And when I say close together, they might be neighbors. You might, my babka lived in a house on St. Catharines Avenue. Her sister lived next door. When I was living in Parma, Ohio, the next 2 houses down the street were 2 sisters. And then if they weren't that close, they were maybe, close enough to walk. It wasn't that difficult for me to walk to my Aunt Marie. It would be, maybe an hour's walk, but still not that difficult. They did this by design. And what I'm reminded of when I'm seeing situations like that is the line from, I think it was Brighton Beach Memoirs, where at the end, the 2 sisters who were living under the one roof, the one moved away, and she said, "I'm moving across the street, close enough to be near, far enough to close the door." There is something to be said for that.
I remember the existence of Brighton Beach Memoirs. I remember nothing else about that.
Okay. I saw it. I think it was the film where Matthew Broderick played.
I thought it was Matthew Broderick.
Yeah. Oh, looks good. I'm not that much a rum drinker, but I do appreciate the stuff.
I got myself a Christmas present, which is some Kraken rum.
Wait a minute. You're going to have to explain that.
Did you release it?
This is really. I think I even have a bottle of it. I'm actually kind of backed myself into a bit of a corner, but I can go and get a bottle of it to show you what it looks like, because I've got some Kraken rum.
Oh.
So,
well, yes. While you're doing that, here's to those that weren't as lucky.
Cheers.
I have to ask, what was that you were consuming?
What?
What was that you were consuming, Meryl?
Me?
Yeah.
Mango and yogurt. Oh, mango and yogurt.
Okay. You can have it.
You don't like mango?
I don't like yogurt. It's a little too sour for me.
Fair enough.
You're not eating the right yogurt.
No, I love yogurt. I love yogurt. I've been eating fruit and yogurt for breakfast for ages. That's my general go-to thing. Right. I'll go and find some Kraken.
So this bottle of Captain Morgan has really gone untouched since last year when Diana was doing a Christmas stream and I had eggnog and rum with it. I think I'd had a little because I had to leave the stream because it went right to my head, but all I added was this, so it should be fine.
That was the stream that I did with Upside Down, sweetie, wasn't it?
I think so.
That I did with Nutjaw? Yeah, we were having fun trying to get everything synced up because we were streaming from the separate locations and through the same stream arrangement to each of our audiences. And the unfortunate thing that I found with that arrangement is we couldn't sync our respective acts, if you will. It would have been so nice had we been able to blend everything into one and then send that out to both. Rather, we were had some kind of admixture of the two, and it was okay, but there were things I wished that I could have done that I couldn't do. Like send my candelabra to both audiences, for example. Oh well, such is life. I'm all full of it.
So I think we're about to see some Kraken rum here.
Oh boy.
I don't think I've ever. Hello.
That's not rum. That's a snake.
That's not rum.
I don't think I've ever actually had Kraken rum. I've seen it on the shelf, but I don't think I've ever had it. It's like a dark bottle with this sort of squid-looking thing on it.
Oh yes, that's the stuff.
So, yeah.
I mean, what comes to my mind is crack and rum.
No, this is Kraken, like release the Kraken.
Okay.
Well, so I know I bring this up every time rum is mentioned, Kate, but I watched that Rummy Bears video you did ages ago.
Wow, I'd forgotten about that. That was ages ago. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I had like marinated gummy bears in rum.
Oh, jeez, man.
I was watching that, and you were kind of eating them and getting gradually more and more tipsy throughout the video. Kind of go, oh, these are good rummy bears.
Well, okay, there was something I did a while ago. Yeah, that's the thing. There was something I did a while ago.
Dark rum.
This big.
I had to
spiced rum.
If you could bring the bottle back a sec there, I had to take that to the people at the checkout because it had one of those little twisty sensors for going through the door alarm on the top, and I had my my finger through the little circly handles. And as the lady tried to take it away to take the sensor off, she was kind of pulling me through the shop by the finger because I hadn't managed to let go before she took it. So I was like, hang on.
Okay, fine.
Well, there was something that I had done a couple of months ago. I bought a box of Nerds, Nerds candy, where it's basically sugar.
Yep.
And it was getting to a point where I was like, I don't even really want to finish this. It's starting to feel kind of gross. So as an experiment, I put them in a mug, much like this one, and filled it with water and then microwaved it.
Oh boy.
And it came out kind of like Kool-Aid, but it had this sickly, like dark green, almost purple swamp water look to it. So it looked like this nasty concoction you wouldn't ever want to drink, but it actually just tasted like warm Kool-Aid.
Okay, then. I remember just once, at a Mensa RG, we prepared some swamp water. We had the right combination of Kool-Aid flavors that we ended up with something that looked about the color of the old slate board, not the green one, but the old black board.
Mhm.
And of course, there were the pieces of dry ice in there. It could have been a prop for Macbeth, basically. But the darn thing was that I was never again able to replicate that color. I don't know what it was that we combined, but it's lost to the ages.
Ugly German Truth says that purple swamp water sounds like the ideal IPA name, which makes me think one of my favorite moments in the show How I Met Your Mother, and I know I've mentioned this on Diana's streams, was there was this one guy working in the same office with Marshall named Randy Wampus, and he wanted to start his own beer company so that he could serve up people nice glasses of Wampus. And that slayed me. I don't know why. And I'm also very amused by the character and the actor who plays him, because he was in another very good show called Last Man on Earth. Gosh, I know I had a way to pronounce it. Now I don't remember now. Asylum, like in an asylum, the cereal, it's Kraken Oat Bran. I don't know if you're familiar with Cracklin Oat Bran, but Kraken Oat Bran. I was just having fun with Photoshop.
Fair enough.
In the meantime, I'm going to refill this, and I am going to grab some bicarbonate of soda because I ate too damn much chocolate earlier. And it's letting me know that I had too much.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, give me half a second. I'll be right back.
Now
you can talk about me behind my back.
Of course we will. What do you...
It's like 2-3 years ago. I don't know what happened, but my desire for alcohol, gone. Like I just never really felt the need. And so now my tolerance is so gone. I try this is like one shot and I've drunk maybe a third of what I poured in here mixed with eggnog. Already gone. It's crazy.
That lavender lady, she's all right.
she's yeah.
Not just very good at dissing people.
Yeah, no, but you can't diss Diana. Diana's bloody awesome. Notcha's actually over at my place at the moment, and
that's where the cheesecake went.
Yes, so the cheesecake went, and it says it's trippy here, hearing Ned giggle in the other room, then giggle 20 seconds later on the phone.
Well, you know how much lag there is now.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's 20 seconds. You might be exaggerating, but
I can't find this one picture I'm trying to find. Where is it? Oh, that'll do. Close enough.
Thank you, Stephen. I like my death noodle too. His name is Lucius. Everyone asks me, and I saw somebody go, where's the snake? I was like, oh, all right, because I knew eventually somebody was going to have to ask. So, isn't he a cutie?
Someone, I think it was in one of these streams, like a couple hours ago, was scrolling through pictures of like snakes where people had drawn arms on them to make them do different.
Yeah, that was with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. This is the best. Okay. This is the best drink in the business.
Fair enough.
Panther piss.
Pure old panther piss.
Well,
fair enough.
There's one that I really like. You know how Oreo is coming out with all kinds of wacky ass flavors, right? Well, this is my personal favorite.
What?
I am disturbed.
Yeah, thankfully it's not real. That was me in Photoshop again, but still.
Fair enough.
Although,
I may have way too much fun, more fun than is healthy with Photoshop at times.
My grandmother forgot what lasagna was. So we were going through the cupboards at one point trying to figure out what was in there. And she looks around at me, she goes, "Here, what's lasagne?"
Right. It must be Italian.
Lasagne. Stevens, I showed my daughter the video of his vet visit. Now she wants one. You should actually get a snake for a pet. They're actually really good pets. They're low maintenance. Sorry for
Yay.
talking about this, but they're really low maintenance. They're easy to look after, and they're just the same as a dog or a cat. Like in fact, they're safer than a dog or a cat if you decide to get a non-venomous one.
I do have a snake story.
Real quick, I actually didn't really have a problem with snakes. I know some people are freaked out with them, but when I was little, someone let me play with their garter snake, and it took a shit on me. And since then, I don't want to pick any snakes up or handle them in any way because I don't want to be shat upon.
He's shat on me. He's shat on me, and it's sort of like I don't think my jacket will ever smell the same.
Now I'm trying to remember. Is there elimination stuff? Does that resemble bird shit? It's the uric acid.
I remember it being white.
Yeah, there's urates. That's like a solid version of urine.
Okay. I thought so.
I'm just saying, I remember it being white.
Yeah. So friends of mine were looking after a snake for So friends of mine were looking after a snake for a friend of theirs, and they'd had this snake for quite a while because the guy was trying to move or some crap, and he didn't have room for the snake. So they had this whole little snake habitat with little tubes that the snake could go into and out of, and all kinds of stuff like that. And one day I was over there for the weekly role play. And I was looking at the snaky tubes, and I couldn't see the snake. So I had to look around the back, and I noticed that the tube had become dislodged and was open. And so is this supposed to be open? And they came around kind of, no.
Oops.
So the snake was in fact gone.
Oh no.
And so they reported this back to the person whose snake it was, saying, well, the snake has escaped. The person hadn't been around to see the snake in about 2 months at this point, because he was being a bit of a knobhead. So about 4 months later, as they were packing to move house, the snake just kind of slithered out from under the kitchen cabinet, just going, you've taken all the food away. They just, there's the snake. So they recaptured the snake and put it back in the tubes.
Maybe it's just me, but I think the term move house is very odd because the house is staying put. They're just switching houses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in general, I'd agree it should be a move people and the house remains.
Yeah. But hey, that's just me. I anyone who knows me knows that language is both a passion of mine, but also a source of extreme frustration.
Yeah, so, I can relate.
Just like George Carlin and his tirade, what's this thing about homelessness? Home is a state of mind. These people are houseless. They need houses. They need a place to live. And that's when he starts into the golf courses.
I like the Jason Statham thing. He was on that talk show. He said, I'm going to build a tree house. I'm going to fill it with so much love and warmth that it becomes a tree home.
Oh,
he just says it in he says it in his kind of like action film voice, in this just kind of slightly aggressive, menacing way.
Well, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen Jason Statham in a role where he wasn't coming off as Mr. Scary. It was like even in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, he had that air of menace about him. The idea of him filling a tree house with enough love to be a tree home breaks my brain a little. The same way watching an Arnold Schwarzenegger comedy is difficult at times.
I bet he's probably one of the sweetest people, like Jason. I would not be surprised if he's like the nicest person around. I wonder how many actors play really nice guys on screen and are just complete rat bastards behind the scenes.
A few that I've heard. about. My linguistic trouble at the moment, my particular gripe with how people use language is when they refer to people's qualifications, and they say, like, somebody's doing a course which has, for example, a degree at the end of it, and they're midway through the course, and they say, "Oh, yeah, I'm doing a course to get my whatever qualification." I say, "Well, have you finished the course and got the qualification?" And they said, "No, I'm halfway through the course." Well, it's not your whatever qualification, then, is it? Because you haven't earned it yet.
Mhm.
It is still a nebulous, non-existent qualification that you don't possess. It is not yours until you have earned it.
Fair enough.
Well, it seems like I don't know if a term exists yet. I'm halfway through the qualification I'm attempting. I'm halfway through my qualification attempt. There we go.
Yeah, that would work better. Or just say, I'm halfway through a course for this qualification.
What about I'm getting? Because I'm getting suggests that it's in the process of happening. So it's
just when they use the word "my."
Fine,
it's just when they use the word "my" for something they don't own yet.
Well, I'd say I'm doing my degree in science.
Yeah.
Is that fine? Am I allowed to say that because I'm doing it? I'm currently in.
I haven't done it yet.
I thought it's done. No.
No. I graduate in October if all goes to plan.
Then you could say she was.
Okay.
A couple of people have mentioned that. I was like, oh, I probably should have made that clear. Hopefully in October I will be getting my degree. See, getting my degree.
Yeah. Advanced degree, I take it.
It'll be yours when you get it.
I want to say, over the uni break, I'm going to get a job in microbiology in a lab. But my actual work that I'm currently doing is just going, here, have work, and 10,000 times more than you normally do. So, so that's been a bit of an annoyance for me.
How small exactly do you have to be a microbiologist?
At minimum of 5 foot. So I'm a little bit too tall for one. No, a maximum of 5 foot. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but if you're too short, you can't reach the microscope.
Yeah, but that's because microbiology they're shorter. Yeah,
I suppose if you're closer to it already, then you might not need the microscope.
You want to reach the petri dishes, though. You really do. They're not
easy
really to grab with those
trees and dishes.
Yeah. Or maybe they just put the temperature down really, really cold, to 10 degrees Celsius or something like that. There's micro temperatures.
Okay,
10 degrees Celsius, that's comfortable living room temperature.
Yeah, you're British.
Hey, I was raised in Vermont, where it's way the frick too cold for way too long of the year. I'm glad I live in Southern California, where now I can say 55 degrees Fahrenheit is way the frick too cold.
Yeah, what's that?
What?
55 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it's way the frick too cold is what it is.
Okay, all right. Do you know what it is in Celsius?
I'm sorry, I cannot do the conversion in my head. I wish I could. I wish I was better at that.
Give me a minute here.
But I don't. I mean, okay, I'll be honest. The only impediment I think there is to switching to the metric system here in the United States is having to relearn everything. Like, I want to go out and buy what's the equivalent of a pound of fill in the ingredient name. Like I want to buy a pound of rice. Well, I don't know how much that is in.
Well,
it's roughly half a kilo.
Yeah. But the thing is, there's only 4% of the world's population uses imperial.
Yeah,
I think
get
US,
the rest
Malaysia,
of the world
some other shit.
Yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of a Frankenstein's monster in both Australia and England, because sometimes we use pound and
things
ounces
are in miles.
Yeah, but it'll only take about 20 years or so for everyone to be able to easily go from one to the other. Like all you need is one generation, and everyone's learnt the metric system, which is significantly more intelligent.
It
Well,
is. It is. Yes.
So I did the
For
looking, I
measurements.
did the calculations, and it turns out that 55 degrees Fahrenheit is about 12.8 Celsius, give or take.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you this. It is currently here. It's about 1:30 in the morning, and it's about 8 degrees Celsius.
So
That's
about
cold.
46.4. It's way too cold. I am so
that
glad I
for
live in
me-
Southern California. There are so many benefits to it, and being warm is a big one.
That for
Yeah.
me, 8 degrees Celsius is comfortable sitting in my room temperature with just put like a jumper on and maybe wrap a blanket around yourself, and I'm nice and comfy.
Yeah, well, where I live, 12 degrees Celsius, which is 55 degrees Fahrenheit, now that we figured that one out, is freaking freezing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if I was to go where you are, I would be a small puddle on the ground because
Yes,
I would have literally melted as soon as I got off the plane.
pretty much. Like we hit 38 degrees Celsius, which is roughly about 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
I'm non-functional if it goes above 20 degrees Celsius.
Okay. Well, then I would invite you to come over to my place one day, Badger, but
Wow.
I think that's going to be a no.
I kept the converter up because I didn't know how warm that wasn't.
I don't like wearing less than 2 layers.
You are very, very British.
Yes. If I find myself in a temperature where it is to much of the world pleasantly warm, I am dying.
That's crazy pants. I'm exactly the opposite. My veins are actually very, very small to the point where I heat my core, but not my limbs or my digits like at all. So if it's even the tiniest smidge cold, it gets extraordinarily painful.
Yeah, I have noticed that.
I mean, I've mentioned how many medical procedures I've had to have because of the stupid seizures and all of that. So I have been stuck with needles way more times than I care to think about in the last decade or so, to the point where I have to explain, like, I can tell the, what is it called, phlebotomist, exactly where to stab me to get it on the first try, that they can start filling up because they will always go for right here, and I'm like, no. There are some prominent veins here that you can actually hit on the first try rather than digging here for 5 minutes, constantly making me hurt. So, yeah.
Well, I have nurse porn arms. I've got really nice fat veins. Actually, I went to donate blood once, and they set me up, and one of the ladies like, "That's mine. She's mine."
I mean, as I keep telling people, I keep explaining that I would donate blood if they didn't ask all those personal questions like, whose blood is this and where did you get it? It's kind of like, someone donates a kidney, they're a hero. You donate 5 and you're a psychopath.
Well,
it's just not fair.
Now you tell me that you had extras. I mean, jeez.
Now, I have noticed one issue with the cold lately, though, which is apparently I have one fingertip which does not have as much blood flow as it used to. Apparently, I'm now becoming old, and I now have this one single fingertip with inadequate blood flow that if I go out in the cold, I will come home and I will, the rest of me will be nice and toasty warm, and this one fingertip, I can touch people and freeze them with it.
Crazy.
I
have to ask, and you don't have to answer, but I have to ask, like, A, how old are you? And 2, why do we never see a picture?
I'm
very curious what you look like.
Well, A, yes, and B, I'm on the screen now. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Are you like Notcher and you kind of look exactly like your avatar?
Sort of. Let me put it this way: if you were to see me in person and compare me to this avatar, I think you'd look between and then go, yeah, I see what's going on.
Man, okay, I've mentioned before that I watched this channel called What Culture on YouTube. And they do a lot of like pop culture stuff.
Oh yeah.
There is this one guy. Now he's hiding it now because he started growing some chin pubes. But before he did that, he was the epitome of who Hollywood would cast if they wanted to show an ugly Brit. He has like a bit of an overbite. His chin is really far back from his face, and his ears stick out like radar dishes. He looks remarkably like he has something wrong with him. And so that's now what I'm picturing for Badger. So I have no other model by which to go. So
I wouldn't go with that one. I'd go with imagine. Let me try and paint you a picture with words. Imagine you sort of eccentric recluse who sits in a dressing gown, drinking tea, and talking to people exclusively through a digital medium, and prefers it that way. And you'll be somewhere along your lines to the Bad-Tempered Badger.
Okay, I've always kind of thought of you as a Basil Fawlty kind of shape, like visual.
That's the guy I'm talking about right there, and I wish I had a profile shot of him,
Okay.
but yeah.
I'm gonna stop you right there and be, no, I have a chin.
Okay. I mean, I hate to make fun of a guy's looks because who am I to talk? But you know,
oh come on.
But at the same time, when I first saw him, I was like, "This is an alien-human hybrid." So.
Well, at least you came up with something. I was gonna give you a picture if you wanted one. I mean, you could always have this, and as far as that goes, and it's still in the wings, but that's no big deal. But other than that,
yeah. So, gosh, how much time do we have left? About 20-ish minutes.
About 20 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny when I'm on someone else's stream, it seems to go at the speed of light. On mine, I'm like, wow, I feel like I've been doing this for 5 hours.
Yeah, you're always stretching to fill those last couple of minutes.
I always find that it goes really slowly if I had like a set amount of content, and then I go through that set amount of content and I find I've been talking for 30 seconds and I plan to be on for like an hour.
I mean, I burned through the Die Hard and Gremlins stuff way faster than I thought I ever would. So I'm glad there were people around to co-host with me, or I'd be floundering.
The other extreme I find is if I have like someone on to talk to and it's just starting to get interesting and I'm like, I want to see where this goes. And I look at the clock and I've been talking for 3 hours and I should have had dinner 2 hours ago. And I go, oh, balls. I cocked this time and didn't I?
Well,
I'm just kind of curious. What?
I was about to say, well, if we do need to fill in a little bit, I was going to do a bit of a shout out to not just to the snack, but also to not just fundraising thingy. But you go, Diana.
Yeah, I'm looking over at Snack over there, and I'm wondering because I've never kept a snack or anything. What kind of personality do those guys have? I mean, are we talking personality of a kitty, or is a kitty much more personable than the snack is? Or
well, snacks, I don't think they have a lot of brains, to be honest with you. They're not the smartest of critters, but they're really chilled out. Like, this guy's a bit snappy. He likes to try and eat me. But I like, if snack personalities like him because apparently pythons can be quite snappy. But venomous snakes, venomous snakes don't tend to envenomate because they take a lot of protein to produce, and a lot of energy to produce the venom for their food.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I won't have a venomous snake because I'm not suicidal, but some people do, and they're pretty safe. Like you'd have to make sure you take them out of their tank using a hook, because once they come out of because if you feed them in the tank, they can sometimes get confused with your finger and their meal. And if you have a venomous snake, then you don't really want that to happen.
Right, I can imagine.
But I would, if I have a pet, if I met somebody who had a pet red-bellied black, for example, or brown, or even an inland python, which is the most deadly snake in the world, like venom-wise, I would be comfortable handling that snake because they're not actually aggressive animals.
Well, I wonder how many people, thinking they're clever, have named their pythons Monty.
Probably many. Probably many.
Yeah.
A lot of people said, "Oh, Lucius is a good name for a snake," and I was like, "It's kind of obvious. Like, seriously, Lucifer." I was actually
Oh, really? Because I would have thought it would be a Lucius Malfoy reference.
Yeah, that's where I was going as well.
This was biblical. This was definitely biblical.
Mm.
Yeah. So Lucius, I've named him Lucius because of the Bible. Because I was going, if I was going to get a female, I would have called her Lilith. Because Lilith is just a cool name anyway.
Well, whenever someone says Lilith, my first thought is Frasier's ex-wife.
Fair enough. No, I go Lilith as in the really awesome biblical woman before Eve, the pre-Eve.
Yeah,
woman.
the woman who would not submit.
She wouldn't submit, so she turned into the first demon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but yeah, personality-wise, like snakes are really chilled-out animals. They're not aggressive. They if they're in a situation that they're not comfortable with, they will tap, which is like a strike out and strike back in. And it's like boom, and then they but that's more of a get away from me kind of thing. And they get once they get used to you, they don't hurt people. Critical, I have not yet confirmed that he's a he, but we're about 90% sure that he is a he.
How do you even tell?
Well, let's see if I can do this. The tail, see how that's his vent. You can get the shorter vents, like the shorter tails tend to mean that it's a female. And the longer tail tends to show that it's female. So if I can try and get him to, I've always thought he was male. I've always thought he was. Come on, dude. Okay, so you can't really tell, but he's that is a longish kind of looking tail. So and I also with females, you also tend to have like a sort of a dip in and it come out like a little, and that is because they have the place where their eggs can sit. But males tend to sort of kind of come and then go in a bit and then taper out because they have two penises, so they have hemipenes. And that's what Lucius's tail does. It goes in, sort of pumps in, goes out and tapers out. So, so I've always thought he was a male, and the vet, when he did the ultrasound, said that he saw a testicle, what he thought was a testicle, but we can't be 100% sure until he gets probed. But when I took him to,
so you end up digging around in the cloaca and saying, "Oh, look there."
But he didn't do that because he was in shed at the time, and that could damage the shed, and you don't want you want the shed to come off nice and cleanly. So, but yeah, so that's how you can kind of sex a snake.
That sounds
So-
really bad.
Yeah, it
The-
sounds like it could be a porn title.
yeah, how to sex a snake.
Yeah.
Probe him.
I sincerely hope nobody in my audience is like scared of snakes.
Well, I hope that this what I'm showing now is what kind of makes you go, oh, they're not so bad, and they're not. They're just.
You'd be surprised.
There
Well,
are some
no,
people
like,
who
I'm
terrified.
not scared of snakes, but I have my own phobias, and there are times where just seeing like a dog on screen will freak me right the hell out, depending on the dog.
I've seen it
That
happen.
that
No,
experience,
that's bad.
I've explained it to people before, but yeah, there was once, like really recently, I think it was one of your streams, Diana, where we were like someone was talking about their dog, and I was about to say that I'm scared of dogs, and their dog barked right in the middle of it, and my voice went up high, like
That
I
was-
was like, "Ah!" that yeah.
That was
Yeah.
Shadow. That was Mom NATO's dog. Yeah.
Yeah, that freaked me
Yeah.
right the hell out.
I have a couple of friends who've got the arachnophobia, and we went to the Harry Potter experience in London, or near London. And there's one particular part of that where you go in, and you know the big spider Aragog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's just up on the wall overlooking this entire room. And as soon as we went in, it's the room with kind of all the props of the various different magical creatures from the original Harry Potter films. So it's got Buckbeak in there, it's got all the other various magical creatures. You walk in, and they basically just kind of looked up very briefly, glanced up at the wall, saw this spider, and immediately did the eye cover, just no, went to the next room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't fear spiders, but I have a healthy respect for them. Because they do have these things called fangs, and they are known to use them.
Yeah.
And it's not comfortable, being bitten. I mean, well, I'm suffering off what must have been a spider or something that bit me once or twice over the last couple of days. Because, well, you noticed it, Kate, where the little reddish bumps on the arm there, and I'm reasonably sure it was a spider or something like that. They're itchy as all hell. Not fun.
Well,
But,
one of the hypotheses as to why humans are afraid of snakes and spiders and things like that is because humans used to be rodents. Like our ancestors were rodents, and snakes
Way.
obviously eat rodents. And so this is like and also because even we people still get killed by snakes because they've been bitten by venomous snakes. It's just a evolutionary reason why we are still we're afraid of snakes.
I'm gonna have to tap Aaron on the shoulder because I don't know that rodents are in our lineage. I don't know whether they are or not.
Rodent-like animals.
Okay.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
always thought it was sort of an uncanny valley thing, either not enough or too many legs.
That's also
but then
possible.
again, I
But
guess there's people out there who are freaked out by spiders, but not by, say, ants. So maybe that's not it.
I have, if I have any issues with any snakes, I just call up my African cousins.
Your African.
Okay.
Yeah, I get the honey badgers on it.
There you go.
Yeah. So, but I've learned a lot about snakes since I got Lucius, and they're very much not scary at all. I'm not afraid of them. Obviously, I would definitely be a little bit more cautious about getting a venomous snake out of my house. But I would feel that I'm comfortable enough to get a wild python out of my house. Like that would be fine by me. Not that I think I will ever need to get that.
I've worn a boa. That's a whole bunch of fun. You get the most interesting looks at the bar and the restaurant,
And they make the most interesting massage feeling as well, don't they?
Mhm.
Like the way they curl up and wriggle into you and stuff. And he's really cute because if I haven't handled him for a couple of days, when I pick him up, he seems to like kind of cuddle into me. I don't know if that's him going, "Oh, I've missed you," or it's like I'm just trying to get myself a better way of curling up and wriggling into me. Like,
He'll be like, "Where have you been? I'm gonna squeeze you now."
pretty much. Well, as he like, I wear these things, and that's to help him hold on to my hand.
What do
So-
you keep him in? I mean, like a cage, an aquarium, what?
It's a tank, so it's a bit like an aquarium, but it's got like ventilation and things like that.
Hmm.
And he's in a 93 centimeter tank, so he'll get to about 1 meter to 1.5 meters, which is 100 centimeters to 150 centimeters. So I think that's about 4 foot or 3 foot long. I can't remember.
Let's see. A meter is a little over 3 feet. It's 3 feet 3 inches, something like that. So
Yeah.
about
So
4.5, 4 3/4 feet for 1.5 meters.
Yeah. So but he's in that tank's his forever tank, because they don't mind being in a shorter tank than they are long, because they tend to curl up and hide anyway.
I do that as well.
Yeah. So so that's his forever tank, and he's just he's pretty sweet. He's pretty cool, and very very good conversation starters, and people will go, "Oh, I don't like him," but I've had plenty of people say to me, "I hated snakes, but since I started following you on Twitter or watching your YouTube channel, you've really made me go appreciate snakes a lot better, and realize that they're not that scary."
Yeah, actually, it's funny. San Diego is lousy with lizards. Not quite the same as snakes, obviously, but like if I go rollerblading on Coronado, the bike path, there will be lizards running back and forth across it and occasionally splatted against it. So, yeah. Mind you, we also occasionally get bunnies on the trail as well. So I don't know.
Fear the bunny.
We have
fear the bunny. They're awful over here. Rabbits
We
are
have quite a
terrible.
lot of newts around here.
Well, we have
No.
the Brits to thank for that, Badger.
Yeah.
Who brought the hares down? Was it hares or rabbits? One of the two down there to do the hunting and everything else, and screwed everything up royally.
Yeah,
Just
rabbits,
cats.
cats, and foxes, and even dogs. They all
Yeah,
Goats.
me, I just
Don't
eat
forget goats.
goats. Even camels.
Somebody imported camels.
Yeah,
to
we
Australia.
camels are pretty nasty over to Australia.
Oh,
But if they capture them early enough, they're actually disease free, and they're a decent export. We've even got the camel on the $20 note.
Well, I mean,
nice.
if they were going to import them, it'd be a shame if you had to pay for the disease as well.
Exactly. But yeah, they're because they used camels. They were pets. Well, not pets, but they were used as like beasts of burden, because Australia's got this giant desert in the middle of it, apparently.
Yes.
I've heard something about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought it was a myth, like Atlantis or Canada.
Yeah. No, we're definitely not. We definitely don't exist. Would I be able to? We've got about a few more minutes left. Can I do a very quick plug on for Notja and his computer?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
sure, because Notcha's awesome, and if we can help him, let's.
Of course.
Yeah. I want to do
Okay.
another collaboration with Notja.
Yes, Notja is quite possibly the most awesome person on the planet. So for
But you're
those of you-
biased. Come on.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's
true.
only because I'm in my orbital space station, so I'm not on the planet.
I'm
So-
technically under the planet.
Well, so Notja's computer is effectively dead. It like crashes, blue screens or crashes every 10 minutes or something like that.
For the
And
love of Saint Gulick.
yeah, so he's been having trouble being able to get some stuff together. So I've started up a PayPal pool for $2,000. He probably would prefer 5,000, but I thought, let's not be greedy.
Good idea.
And,
good idea.
if everyone he's a good guy. He's a very, very, very good guy, and deserves.
I mean, if you'll excuse me, he's my upside down sweetie. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw him first. Okay.
You did.
The only people I
Definitely
know
you.
who don't like Nacha are people who haven't met him yet, and so they can't.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, if you don't like Notcha, there's definitely something wrong with you. And he is such a sweet guy, and he's had a really rough year as well. And he just needs a little bit of love, which we all give him, but just
He's
to
a
help
good
him out. Very good guy.
Help the
Strongly recommend going onto his channel as well, subscribing, that kind of thing. Big shout out to him. But yeah, if everyone could donate even just $5 or something like that, because
you said you're going for what, 2,000?
For 2,000,
I put this one together, and it's a very, very serviceable machine for about 1,500 US. So that 2,000 ought to get him a fairly decent machine. Definitely.
Hopefully. Yeah.
And if you don't mind building it yourself, you can get even a better one, that way.
Yeah. So we're all just trying to earn get him a decent amount of monies together. But so far we're on 570. What's today? Thursday. So tomorrow I'm going to be.
Oh, that's right. It's Thursday where you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Upside down.
So tomorrow when I'm going to be on a stream with another Australian atheist person called Atheist Pastor, and we're going to do a bit of a stream to push this this fundraising, and I'm going to be late because I have to work tomorrow night. I'm going to end up singing a Gilbert and Sullivan song of because I said, I've done 6 years of singing training. So when we finish, so when I said, look, if I get $500 I'll sing. I have to do that now. If I get another $100 of a second song, or you can pay me more than that to stop me from singing. And we're currently on 570. So yeah, if you want to hear me embarrass myself again, I will do 2 if there's another 6 if we get to 600.
If you haven't already, where's the link?
The link, I have put it in the thingy. I will do it again.
Over there in the thingy, the good old thingy.
Before this goes too far, we do only have about 2 minutes left.
Sorry.
I don't know who is next exactly, because as I understand it, there were some cancellations at the last minute or something. So it's either Recovering Catholic or Purple is going on again, and I don't know which.
By the way, nerd.
But
Yes.
I'm still fixing my roof.
Stop that. The point is that we need to figure out who it is so we can link everyone else to the channel. I just tried clicking on what's in the Twitter message stream, and it says that Recovering Catholic's channel doesn't exist. So I don't know what's up with that. It may just be a bad link. I don't know. But,
no, I'm tangled in my cable.
But point is that I would like to give a shout out to the person who is going next, and I feel like I'm unable, and that stinks. But I'm glad everyone was here for the show. So whatever you celebrate, Happy Christmas, Merry Hanukkah, Happy Giftmas, buy me something, whatever you celebrate.
There you go. At the very least, Atheist Pastor is at the 10 p.m. Central time slot, the one that would follow Recovering Catholics. Were we able to find Recovering Catholic? So what I'm going to do, if nobody minds here, I'm going to grab both links. The first one I put into the thing over here. This one is for Recovering Catholic. And then I'm going to pick up the one for the following program, which is Atheist Pastor.
Okay.
Copy link location. There we go.
Outstanding.
And yeah, I try to be useful. I really do. Sometimes I succeed. Sometimes, oh well. So there's the other one, and then after that, we'll, or at least it's scheduled that Purple will be back on again at midnight Central with, I think, the regular Thursday early morning broadcast that he does, the Midnight Mid America.
Yeah, I
It's
think he said
amazing.
that's the plan.
Yeah,
Anyway, we have just crossed the 2-hour mark. So I think unless people want to keep going, which
Well,
would
one thing I was
on
going
the
to
toes of
suggest.
whoever's next, we should probably shut down.
Well,
So,
one thing I was going to suggest was I'm gonna bring up the Recovering Catholic thing or whatever. I know it's here somewhere. Where the hell is it? There it is. This channel does not exist. If we want, it's up to you guys. If you want to keep this going until
well, the main
one that
reason,
would
the reason
follow.
I chose the 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. slot was specifically because Columbia's feeding time is 6 p.m. And it's
Okay, then.
also when I have to take, like, my neurologist says I still need to take the brain meds for 2 years after the surgery. So I got to do that at 6 as well. And I should probably feed my own dumb butt at some point. So,
Okay, yeah, that
so
would keep
it's probably
going.
for the best we don't keep going on my channel.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah,
All
but it was good to have folks here, including some folks who honestly I'm not sure I ever met before. Mostly speaking about Nervardia here.
Lovely meeting you too, Kate.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Laura's a big sweetie. She really is.
Yeah, so I will catch you evil geniuses later. Have fun.
See you later.
Take care, hon.
Good night.
If I don't see you before that, I'll see you on Sunday.
Mhm.
And don't forget, don't give yourself the raw prawn.
Mhm.
That's my sign out, by the way.